Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we dive into the latest news and current events from around the world. I'm your host, Barbara, and I'm glad you're joining me today. We're starting off with a story that's been making headlines in the UK, centered around an asylum seekers hotel in the town of Epping. The hotel has been at the center of controversy after a man living there was charged with serious offenses, including sexual assault and harassment. This has led to protests outside the hotel, with some residents expressing concerns about safety and the presence of the asylum seekers in their community. Now, I want to emphasize that this is a complex issue, and we need to approach it with nuance and understanding. On one hand, the allegations against the individual are extremely serious, and it's understandable that the community would be concerned. On the other hand, we have to remember that the vast majority of asylum seekers are fleeing persecution, violence, or war, and they deserve our compassion and support. The protests outside the hotel have been marked by tension and, in some cases, violence. There have been reports of clashes between protesters and police, as well as allegations of misinformation and extremist groups infiltrating the demonstrations. It's essential to acknowledge that these protests are not representative of the entire community, and many residents are speaking out against the violence and hatred. As we explore this story further, it's crucial to listen to diverse perspectives and avoid perpetuating stereotypes or biases. We need to consider the complexities of asylum policy, the challenges faced by local communities, and the human stories behind the headlines. The Council has since voted unanimously to pass a motion urging the government to close the hotel, citing concerns about the lack of facilities and support for vulnerable individuals. However, others have argued that this decision may not address the root causes of the issue and could lead to further marginalization of asylum seekers. We'll continue to follow this story and provide updates as more information becomes available. For now, it's essential to approach this topic with empathy, understanding, and a commitment to factual accuracy. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're glad you're still with us as we dive into our middle segment, where we explore a story that's been making waves in the world of entertainment and politics. Today we're talking about the latest season premiere of the popular animated series, South Park. For those who may not be familiar, South Park has long been known for its satirical take on current events, often pushing boundaries and sparking controversy. The show's creators, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, have never shied away from tackling tough topics, and their latest episode is no exception. The season premiere, which aired earlier this week, features a depiction of President Donald Trump with a, shall we say, less than flattering physical characteristic. The episode has been making headlines, with some praising the show's boldness and others criticizing its perceived disrespect towards the president. We want to give you a balanced view of the story, so let's take a look at what's being said on both sides. On one hand, some fans and critics have praised the show for its willingness to tackle sensitive topics and challenge societal norms. They argue that South Park has always been about pushing boundaries and making people think, and this episode is no different. On the other hand, others have criticized the show for what they see as a personal attack on the president. The White House has responded, with spokesperson Taylor Rogers calling the show fourth-rate and accusing its creators of desperation and hypocrisy. It's worth noting that Trey Parker and Matt Stone have a history of using satire to make pointed commentary on current events. In an appearance at Comic-Con, they joked about the reaction to the episode, with Parker saying "We're terribly sorry" in response to questions about the backlash. While some may see the episode as a personal attack, others will argue that it's simply a reflection of the show's long-standing tradition of satire and social commentary. As always, we want to encourage our listeners to think critically about the issues at hand and form their own opinions. We'll be keeping an eye on this story as it continues to unfold, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on the matter. Do you think South Park went too far with its latest episode? Or is this just another example of the show's bold and irreverent style? Let us know on social media using the hashtag #BarbaraSBulletin. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara. As we wrap up today's show, I want to bring to your attention a developing story that highlights the complex relationships between nations and the media. You may have heard about the recent dismissal of Mikhail Guzman, the first deputy director of Russia's state-run news agency TASS. This move has sparked intense debate and speculation, and we're going to take a closer look at what might be behind it. According to reports, Guzman was let go after facing criticism from pro-Kremlin figures for his appearance at a media forum in Azerbaijan, where he praised President Ilham Aliyev's leadership. Some have accused Guzman of pandering to Baku amid heightened tensions between Russia and Azerbaijan, which have been escalating since a December 24 incident involving an Azerbaijani Airlines flight allegedly shot down by Russian air defense systems. Now, it's essential to understand the context here. Relations between Moscow and Baku have been strained, with both sides trading accusations and engaging in tit-for-tat measures. The detention of Russian nationals in Azerbaijan and the raid on Sputnik, Azerbaijan's offices are just a few examples of the growing tensions. As a journalist, I believe it's crucial to approach this story with nuance and balance. While some might see Guzman's dismissal as a reflection of Russia's efforts to assert its influence over the media, others might view it as a legitimate response to his perceived betrayal of Russian interests. It's also worth noting that Guzman has had a long and distinguished career in Russian journalism, serving as a prominent figure in the industry for decades. His departure from TASS raises questions about the future of Russian media and the role of state-run agencies in shaping public opinion. As we conclude this segment, I want to emphasize the importance of staying informed about global events and their complexities. The situation between Russia and Azerbaijan serves as a reminder that international relations are multifaceted and often influenced by a variety of factors, including politics, economics, and cultural differences. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged.